Hey everybody, Fefe Fitzgerald here, Superstar Director of the CIA family, and I wanted to share my 2021 planner with you guys. I did condense it from last year. I don't know if you guys watched the video from last year, but basically I used to have a personal planner for all of my personal life and my personal business, and then I had an entirely separate different resource to use for my one-on-ones and my teams and all that. And this year I wanted to my word for the year is focus, so I wanted to implement simplifying as much as I can, and I will show you a few ways that I've simplified a lot of my forms. And I started a new form for me, a new TWV tracker, which I'll give you guys a rundown of that too. And then you'll also see now that I'll have my monthly leadership form inside of my planner. So now all I gotta do is just have one planner, which works way better. This is a few years in the making for you guys that are new to maybe organization or planners. First of all, how I started off was with this organization journey is I am more of a list person. I love to just write things down, check things off, and just kind of brain dump. So that worked for a little while. And then I started to realize towards the end of the month that there were things that were time sensitive. So I couldn't get to the bottom of the list and see, hey, you need to pay your bills, and be like, oh my God. So, and it's already past the day or right on the day. Thank goodness I always caught it right on the day, but that was too late for me, was when I caught it at 10 at night that I needed to pay my bills that day. So I needed to kind of put a time constraint on there. So what happened with me, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. What happened with me is that the only other reference of being organized I knew about other than making a list was to have a planner. So I went off on the planner hole, the rabbit hole, and I got a planner, and I would see that people that used it were just a whole other different kind of DNA than I was. So then I was left with, I failed at planners. And so what I was left with was, okay, I got this list that's time sensitive, and then I also have, here's planners. I don't know what else to do. So after trial and error and years of working out my own recipe, I realized that I still could see my planner, and you'll see that here, or use a planner, and you'll see here a little bit how I incorporate that, why I use it. I basically use the calendar just to see as a whole, but I still do have my checklist. And also as time has went on, I learned to break down my checklist into different areas of the month. You'll get a quick glimpse of that, but I think by the 1st, 5th, 10th, 20th, and end of month. And I just have my tasks broken up that way. That way, because the way I function, I'm not totally constrained to something, but I also know where the lines need to be drawn. And in order for me to be successful, I needed to know what I needed to get done throughout these areas of the month. And instead of just losing that battle to planners or losing that battle to lists, I made something that worked for me. So if you guys see what I do, just keep in mind that I had to go down that trail of figuring out what worked. It took me a few years, and it'll take you that. And I think a lot of times when people see these kinds of things like this, or maybe watch a video like this, they automatically assume, oh, I can't do that. And you have to understand, again, these are years in the making of becoming this kind of person and being able to create these kinds of things for me. And so there's also another issue that people also experience when it comes to organization is they want to print all the forms, and you'll see forms flying around this time of the year. Everyone's doing all the things. You all know not to do all the things, but I think a lot of people go down that crazy train, get on that crazy train by printing off other people's forms. And then it's almost like we get upset and discouraged when those exact forms don't work for us. And again, here's what I want you to understand. Any particular form, like my monthly checklist that you'll see, or my TWV tracker that you'll see, my monthly email form, all of those things have been tailored to me. So I share them out in the Cincy world to inspire people, but more than likely they may not work for you, and that is okay. What I suggest is that maybe you take it and use it as inspiration. Certainly don't use it for discouragement, and certainly don't look at it and assume that something that's been tailored to me, Fefe Fitzgerald, is going to solve all of your entire problems, because it's not. That form revolves around my life, my husband's life, my kids' life, my family life, my mom life, my business life, my people, how they respond to my training and what works best for them in this season. And everything's going to be completely different. So you may want to just gather. You got to get to that spiritual maturity where you're okay watching other people. At this point, when you're learning something, you're learning how to be organized in this area. You have to please do not just watch my video. Hold on just a second. Sorry, I had to hit low power mode on my phone. Please do not just watch my video. I would suggest watching a handful of others. You have to mature yourself to not go down that discouragement hole of, I can't do that, oh my God, these are crazy. You have to start somewhere. And then also don't think you need to do everything. But once you are good in those two areas, that's something you're gonna have to tackle. If you struggle with that, you have to tackle that, because in order to get to where you're about to see in my planner, you have to grow through that. You have to grow through thinking you need to do all the things, or looking at someone else and thinking that it's intimidating, or maybe even printing off one of the forms I share and they're not working for you and you just throw it away. You have to take that own journey, and it may take you a year or two to make your own recipe, but you got to just bear with yourself and know that there is some fruit on the other side of all that work that you're going to put in. You're here, you're watching. That's amazing. You're going to succeed because you're here. And if you could just make it over those hurdles, it's going to be amazing. Your business is going to be great. So once I figured out these three things, my entire business changed. And that's putting a time constraint on my list by separating them. And then getting a planner as a whole was the second thing, and being able to combine those. And once I had my list, and then once I had the planner, I was like, there were still some things that kept coming up, because life happens, right? So things were happening, doctor's appointments I didn't know about in my personal life, or other appointments in my business life, or someone needed to exchange a warmer, just little tedious tasks that I needed to do. So what I do is I have a dumping ground in my phone, which is my notes section, one little note, and what I also call dumping ground for in my planner, which is just a blank sheet. That's a list that I could manually write stuff in. And so I know at the end of the day that my mind is going to be free from what I have to do, how I have to do it, when it's got to get done. I can literally clock into my business in the morning and clock out. 99% of my stress is gone, and all I can do is work with my leaders, help build their teams, help train them, and do what business owners do, which is grow our business. And so I don't have to worry about being on Christmas break in a whole other state. Like, did I send that happy mail? Y'all know how we go down those holes. You guys know how we do that. So that's the mind battle that I don't have to go through anymore. But anyways, as I was saying, number 3, my little dumping grounds that I have, if it's anything outside of that list or anything outside of my little calendar, then I have my dumping ground on my phone. So say I am out of town, which always happens every time I'm out of town or off the clock, which is my free personal time, someone will text and say, hey, I need to exchange that warmer. If I'm at dinner, we're waiting on our table, and someone texts me, I throw it in my dumping ground on my phone, Patricia needs a new warmer, click save, and then voila. And then I just know every day when I come in, clock in my Scentsy business in my office, I not only open my planner, see what needs to get done, but I open both of those dumping grounds and see, did I write something here, or did I write something in my phone? I know that sounds like a lot, but here's the thing. It's not gonna get any more. I think organization shouldn't be complicated, but if you guys realize the amount of time you spent in your business just trying to play catch up and chase your own tail, we would vomit. And when I finally realized that, when I finally started to get organized, I'm like, man, I couldn't even set myself up to even promote to SSD last year because I just was flat unorganized. And so I couldn't even set myself up to earn trips. I couldn't even set myself up to get paid at title because I was so busy doing behind the scenes that there was no room for success. It was just Fefe chasing her tail, and I was so stressed. I can tell you right now, I'm doing about a third of the amount of work that I was doing before. I didn't realize I was working at 300% in this business to keep up because I wasn't organized. Now I realize I can put in 100% and it's healthy. It's not draining me. It's not taking from me. I've got other things going on in my life of where God's planted me and transitioned me to, and I have room for that. I have room for Him to give me things and other assignments, and it's not just Cincy all day, every day. So that makes me excited. I know it seems from my list to my planner, which you guys will see it, and then I got my little dumping grounds on my phone. It's like plan A, B, C, and D, because that's how much it means in my business. That's how much it means that my business prospers. It means that much to my family. It means that much to me to be able to continue providing for my family, hitting these goals that I know I can do if I just do them responsibly. And with that, it's freed up so much time outside of my Cincy business that I can continue to do what God wants me to do with that time, which I didn't have before because I was so unorganized and running around chasing my tail, and that's not what I want for you guys. So I hope you guys get a lot from watching this. Good luck starting your journey. If you reach out, I'll be more than happy to help you. I will put some links down in the comments too, so happy planning. So what I use is the Happy Planner. It's a disc-bound planner. Cincy has one in the Cincy Consultant Store, which I absolutely love. The only reason why I got a bigger one is because I needed a bigger size, but the one in the Cincy Consultant Store is amazing and I love it. This one's actually a custom leather cover. So the first thing I have in my planner is what I call my Rock the New Year checklist. This helps me to get prepared for the year ahead, at least for the following 6 months. So it helps me do samples or all sorts of things. There's just a cute little quote. All of this stuff. So printing my annual trackers, printing all my forms that I need, purchasing new season sales kit, all those important things that I forget because we are on the fly, especially this year with it being New Year's. We just have a lot going on, going from year to year, on top of catalog to catalog. So I needed to find something that was going to help me stay organized during the new year. So I will link this Rock the New Year checklist down in the comments. And then as you can see, it includes the Word. This is where I prepare for all my Cincy Club customers. So the last month of every catalog, I'll just kind of brainstorm anyone that order scents that are just seasonal will automatically go on this list, and I just kind of brainstorm. It helps me to kind of hone that in, build up my Cincy Club base. These are just some more forms. Marketing material, as you can see, I've been writing down lists. I even go as far as to writing down what I want to print it on, and Avery labels, which I also have a YouTube video over if you want to search that on YouTube. These are just some other things that I wrote down to do before the new year. And so as you can see, there's a lot in there, but it's very helpful. I even have my Happy Meal planner and my bulk sample planner. I know that sounds like a lot, but also these are just things that I am doing in my business to keep me organized and to help me be successful. My main goal with all of this organization, as I mentioned before, was consistent PRV increasing, 2 recruits a month, and frontline promotions. And so I've just kind of worked out all the kinks to where I know what works for me. So I also, this year, what I changed from last year is that I laminated a few of my forms. Instead of printing it twice, I laminated them. So my monthly personal business form, I put before every month because that's something that I brainstorm every month for the next month. And then as you can see, don't feel so intimidated by this, but this is my calendar. I know there's a bunch of stickers. I used to not be that person that would design her planner. I promise I'm not one of those crazy planner people, or I may be turning into one, I don't know. But I got bored over Christmas on the way to Colorado, so I decided just to throw some stickers on there. But as you could see, as I explained before, I'm not much of a planner person per se, as far as that's not how I stay organized with my business. The only reason why I have a planner, literally the only reason why I have a planner, is so I can put important things in my planner that aren't necessarily in my business. So payday, school, Bible study, whatever. If I had anything set in stone, this orange sticker is my group Zoom every Monday, every second Monday of the month. And church events, date nights, family nights, stuff like that I needed to see as a whole, because if something came up in my business, I wanted to be able to see a calendar as a whole, know when I can do it, know when I'm open to do another Zoom or a talk on another team's page, and not have to be flying by the seat of my pants. So that's really all that I have on my calendar are those. This is how I incorporate my checklist into my planner. This is all my business stuff, and it has me, of course, mark some family stuff, personal stuff in the beginning. But this is just how I operate my business. This is what works for me. This is 3 or 4 years in the making, so it's kind of my recipe, but you're more than welcome to look at it on my Google Drive. And then also, after each month, this is something else that I changed. Real quick, I did laminate, I skipped one. I did laminate my monthly checklist because I didn't want to print that 12 times either. And this is my monthly email list where I can just plan my emails before the month and set those up in MailChimp and know what I can send. So those two I laminated, didn't want to print those 12 times either. Another thing I'm going to laminate is that my monthly leadership form. I do have a YouTube video on monthly leadership form and how I use it, but this is basically what I do on my leadership end, how I follow up with my people, one-on-one training that's important. I could do a whole video on that stuff, but for lack of time, this is gonna be laminated, and for lack of paper, and just being simple. I'm trying to implement simplicity where I can in my business. And so one of those things, other than laminating, is gonna be, well, I guess that's what I was gonna say, was laminating this. And so I'll just have one, I'll erase it at the end of the month, carry all 3 of these forms over to the next month. I'll do that every month. And then in the very back of my planner, I have my TWV, GWV tracker. This is something that's new for this year that I'm implementing. I do have, since he does have a daily tracker for all of our stats. You can track your PRV, you can track your everything, GWV, all the things every single day. However, just for me and the way things work, the way my mind works, I didn't necessarily need something every single day. Or to need to see my GWV every single day. So as you can see, I have 1st, 10th, 15th, 20th end of month. I'll link this down in the comments too. And then also, since LTOs have become such a staple in our business, I created an area on this form where I could track how much GWV I got in a certain particular day. So this, you could really use it how you want. How I'm gonna use it is I always screenshot my GWV before a flash sale, a LTO or whatnot. And then once the system updates or end of day, I go ahead and screenshot the end. The reason why I do this is because the whole idea of tracking numbers is so year over year, you can use them for your leaders, you can use them for your own reference, but it is important as a business owner to know why you got 25,000 GWV on September 1st in 1 hour, or why you were averaging 5,000 GWV a day, but this one day you got 30,000. You need to know those things. So that way you can compare it to the constant variable, for example, that 5,000 GWV a day versus comparing next year's September numbers on September 1st to a day that we had Jack Skellington or a flash sale. That's not healthy, and it's kind of pointless if you kind of compare apples to oranges. You want to make sure all your variables are the same. And if there's something that's different, then I'll have it right here. So I'll be able to look back and see that we had a flash sale or whatnot. So I'll share that. For me also, on this part, I couldn't remember to track every day. It's been almost 6 years in Scentsy. I have never tracked an entire month. But again, that's just me. There's some people who still do like the Scentsy Daily Tracker, and I will link that down in the comments also. But for me, what's important and what I found what works best for me is just having these dates. Just because next year, when I have girls on my team who are in the same position, I can look back at this TWV tracker and be like, hey, say we have a girl about to promote to director, the last, or a superstar director, I guess, realistically, since that'll be my numbers for this year, I can look back this year and say, hey, on the 20th, I had these numbers, and it looks like you're about there. So if you push hard, that could be your end of month. And so it kind of gives me a reference versus we just go into the month and hope. It gives you a little bit more tangible evidence. So that's why a quick rundown of why you would need a TWV, GWV tracker. So I'll link this one, and I'll link Cincy's daily tracker. And of course, the infamous annual awards tracker. Always got to track that. One thing, when I was talking about Simplify, the one thing that I think of when I look at this, and another reason why I don't have PRV on the TWV tracker, is because for me, I realized I'm tracking my PRV here for annual sales. I was tracking my PRV in the previous daily tracking log. And then I was also tracking my PRV on my monthly personal business form, wherever that's at. Oh, it's over here. I was also tracking it here. And so for me, I have my bar report, I have my workstation that I can quickly reference my PRV, which most of the time I at least know what I got the month before. Other than that, I didn't need to put it in 3 different spots. So it does seem, it got repetitive to me. So that was one of the little things when I'm talking about going into this new year, how I wanted to declutter and simplify things. That was one of those things. And so when it came to making this form, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take PRV out because I'm already tracking it every month right here. I don't need to have it in 3 different places. So anyway, as you will notice also, there are tons of stickers in here. This, again, I just got bored. That's a quick way to lose money, is getting bored. The only reason why I did this was because I figured, hey, got paid a title the last 8 months, just during the trip, I'll give myself a snack. And for me, that was it. Just being able to put all these scripture verses in here, things that I can look at, and it gives my planner more meaning. But by golly, if you do not have the time, don't waste your time doing this. Get all your personal business stuff together so you can focus on really having a successful business. And again, focusing on those 3 areas, which is personal business, PRV and consistent growth there, recruiting a couple people, 2+ a month, and consistent frontline promotions. And you will be ready to go for 2021. So thanks for joining me.